Good evening, everyone. We're happy to have you all here. Before we begin, let us bow our heads in a word of prayer. Most holy and eternal God, our Father, we thank you for your many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for all our citizens that have gathered here today. Help us, guide us, teach us, and help us make the right decisions for our citizens and continue to keep us safe. In your name we pray. And Lord, while we're praying, we want to ask a special blessing upon the Wright family in the lost of Calvin Wright. Bless them and keep them in your name. Amen. Amen. We want to thank all of you for being here with us today. Our first item on the agenda is consideration of April 21, 2026 City Council minutes.
I move for approval of the minutes.
Motion has been made by Councilman Kalu,
Second.
second by Councilman Knotts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried. Our recognition of May Community of Character trait is accountability. Accountability is the willingness to accept responsibility, justify actions, and accept consequences for outcomes. And we're going to ask all our citizens, please adopt this character and let's govern ourselves by it during the month of May. We have an appearance this afternoon from Mr. William Green, City Concerns. If you come to the podium, Mr. Green, state your name and your address, please.
William Green, Malibu Drive. The first page shows a pothole at the corner of Cemetery and Green Street that has been there for quite some time. A lot of cars are getting damaged going through the pothole. When they're try to avoid the pothole, they're going in the other lane with oncoming cars. The next sheet shows Green Street when church is going on, and this is like right behind the police department on Green Street. There are cars parked on both sides of the street, and in order for a car to go down the street, they have to get in the middle of the line. And there's cars coming off of Henley Street making a turn at that corner. I've seen several accidents almost getting ready to happen there at that corner. The next sheet shows the baseball field on Adams Street. The fence is torn open. It's in very bad condition. In the park, we have children in the playground 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, unattended, and nobody's doing anything about it. And the whole park needs to be revamped. People walking their dogs in there. When children going in there playing, they're stepping in stuff, putting their hands in stuff. That needs to be addressed. It's not a dog park, it's a park for children. The next sheet shows Green Street with one shopping cart. Sometimes there's like 12 shopping carts there. I think the police department and sheriff department, when they see anyone walking down the street through a residential area with a shopping cart, I think they should be fined and return the cart back to the store. A lot of store managers and store owners that I spoke with, they're losing a lot of shopping carts, and from my understanding, each shopping cart is like $150 a piece. They even throw them in dumpsters. And then when the trash truck comes to dump it, they're throwing the shopping carts out. The next sheet shows behind DPU, the walk-up window. I've asked over and over about an awning being put there for patrons when they come up to the walk-up window to have something to get out the elements, and that hasn't been done yet. And the first sheet with this group shows my relationship with Greyhound. As you can see, July 27, 2010, that was my first contact with the Greyhound bus service coming in and out of Orangeburg because there was some issues ever since 2010. And this was the first letter I got. I got several letters from them. The next sheet. The next sheet shows that this is talking about the State Theater property where the museum is going up now. If you read the highlighted area, I was the founder for a museum to go in that corner. But yet, people refuse to give me accreditation for all the hard work that I did. And it's so sad that people want to take credit for somebody else's work. And everybody in here know that I fought very hard for a museum to go in that corner. And people should give credit where credit's due. Any questions?
Mr. Green, can you tell me again the first photo on this one? What street is this again?
Cemetery in Green Street.
Cemetery in Green.
And the pothole has been there for like 2 years now. And it's getting worse and worse. And I've mentioned it before.
And who did you mention it to?
Mr. Hannah?
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
Okay, is this a state road or a city-owned road? Do we know right off the bat? State road. State road, okay, state-owned road.
But people always say get in contact with DOT.
Yeah.
But if you are representing an area, your citizens in your area should get in contact with you, and you get in contact with DOT.
Right, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
that you should
Yeah.
get in contact with DOT, I just wanted to
But this is an
verify.
ongoing issue. A lot of people have car problems. I've seen cars when it's muddy there, cars get stuck in it, and nothing's been done about it. And this is going on 2 years that I noticed anyway.
And your letter from Greyhound.
From Greyhound. I was just showing that that's my first contact with Greyhound, and that was 2010. That was my first contact with Greyhound because there was some issues in 2010 too.
Okay.
That's why I fought very hard to get the bus service back to Orangeburg.
Oh, okay, so you're sharing this with us to show that,
That ever since 2010, I've been in contact with Greyhound.
to try to get them back into Orangeburg?
No, they were in Orangeburg, but there were some
Right.
issues going on as far as the stops and all that kind of stuff in that time. And I also spoke with Greyhound and the mayor of Columbia, the mayor of North Charleston, because for Orangeburg to be in the middle of the two major cities in South Carolina, there's no bus service to Columbia because Columbia does not have a bus station anymore. And I'm trying to get them to put one back in Columbia. And Charleston has a bus station, but there's no bus that leaves from Orangeburg that go to Charleston. And there are a lot of people that travel back and forth to Charleston for medical purposes. It's a historical area. A lot of students live in Charleston, and there's no bus service to Charleston from Orangeburg. So I've already spoke with them also. Yeah, trying to get a line in between.
Okay, so this was written to try to get them back into Orangeburg, or to add Orangeburg back? on
No,
the list?
this was in 2010. This was in 2010. I'm just showing that this was my first contact with them, ever since 2010.
Okay,
Yeah, ever since 2010, yeah.
okay. I'm sorry, I'm
We may have to
Yeah,
come
I'm
back
just
to
showing that that was my first contact with them because the bus service didn't run on schedule. There was some issues going on with them, yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
yeah.
okay.
Mr. Green. On the second page,
Yes.
Mr. Green, on the second page, what is your suggestion? You said there are two cars going on different areas. Are you suggesting that we
this
have
is-
a one-way? or-
No, this is Green Street by Mount Pistol. Green Street, in front of Mount Pistol, behind the police station. And when cars, like the car that I took a picture of, when the cars are going up to that corner where Henley Street is at, the oncoming traffic, they got to swing out because the cars got to drive in the middle of the street because there's cars parked on both sides of that street, on Green Street. And they should not be. So that it almost causes accidents every Sunday.
So should we make it one-way street or what?
No, the street is
It's
two
narrow?
ways.
It's too narrow?
No, it's not too narrow. You got church members parking on both sides of the street. That's the problem. The street is not too narrow. Yeah, there, as you can see the picture, there are cars parked on both sides of the street.
And that's what I'm asking you. What is your suggestion? It's a problem. You showed us the problem. What is your intent? If you're the one in charge,
Is to get cars not to park on both sides of
On
the
both
street, or
sides.
either side of the street, to be honestly,
That's what
because
I
you're
want.
blocking traffic both ways.
that's what I want to know.
And the picture showing that SUV is actually driving in the middle of the lines in the middle of the street.
Okay,
It can't drive on the lane that's supposed to drive on.
okay.
Yeah,
That's what I want to know. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Green, no one would take it away from you as knowing that you are one of the few young persons who have a love for Orangeburg and do things for Orangeburg with good intentions. And I applaud you for standing your ground. But I'm so glad that I wasn't on here by myself. We just about had a District 3 affair on here if it was not for the last photo. But your concerns are being listened to, and city council are aware of some things in that highway situation. And without you knowing what you're going to present this week, I presented to city administrator about this situation at the corner of Cemetery and Green Street. And I didn't know what you were going to say, but I hit Mr. Sidney, but I won't go through the whole litany. But these things, all except for the last page, is in District 3. And trust and believe, whatever the constituents of District 3 come to me with, I take it to higher ground.
I just can't believe that the sidewalk stops at Cemetery Street, it doesn't continue down Green Street. So then you got people walking in the middle of the road going down that way.
Yeah, that's a horse of a different day. But I definitely thank you and support you for your efforts of coming forth with the buses and everything that you do, because sometimes, and what I tell my citizens in the district is that when a citizen come and stand in that hot seat right there, it makes this seat right here cooler. But when I, as a city council, present something by my lonesome, end of the story. Thank you, sir.
In order to get things done, people have to work together. People have to work together. I mean, that's the only way that you can get things done in a positive way, in a positive manner. So I just want Orangeburg to be a better place and a safe place. Because I've even spoke with Chief Austin before, Ad Street Park, grown adults was hanging out in the park, drinking liquor, doing drugs and stuff. They got rid of it. It's no longer there.
While you're there, we could be here all night with this. With the carts that are in the district coming from different places, I did go to one place, and that's the Dollar General on the corner of 601 and Russell Street, and I spoke with the manager. The manager said, high up, don't care. I said, about your carts out there? He said, no, high ups don't care. So I left it like that.
Well, when they mention it to me when I go in the store, they say they got to send somebody in a pickup truck, get somebody to go and ride around and pick the carts up. So, but anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
One
Green.
thing, Chief Austin, in reference to Green and Adden, can you put that on like the shift patrols, just kind of check around there on midnight shift? Thank you.
We have, our next item is Breathe Easy South Carolina Fire Squad Youth Coalition and Tri-County Commission on Alcohol, Drug, and Abuse. And they're gonna come and present to us and give you your name and your address and your group. Thank you.
So hello, everyone. My name is Dr. LaShondra Morgan. I'm the Executive Director of Breathe Easy South Carolina, and I'm here with
Mariah Ginyard of Fire Squad.
And Jeremiah Morgan of Fire Squad.
And Vincent Sanders, advisor for Fire Squad.
Yes. And so we have a little bit of a praise report for y'all. Well, a big praise report. So the fire squad actually won a national award. We will be headed to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. They received the Yaya, the Youth Advocacy of the Year Award. And so we'll be receiving that in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. And today they were invited to the South Carolina State House. And yeah, they were honored there today. So
Great.
starting out with some good news. And so, is this the clicker? All right, so we want to talk about some of the work that we've been doing in the community. And I also want to say thank you, Mayor, because in August, it would have been 10 years I started my public health career here in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and you were very welcoming to me, so thank you. I'm still here.
Glad to have you.
Okay, so Breathe Easy, South Carolina, we actually cover 9 counties, but today we're going to talk about some of the things that we're doing here in the city of Orangeburg. So we've received funding from the Center for Black Health and Equity to conduct capacity building exercises here in the community. We've also received funding from Smoke Free SC, and we were able to do some point of sale research about how tobacco is marketed in our community. And then we've also conducted a photo voice project that was focused on local youth. So it was about how youth see tobacco in the community. And so the research it was a little different. We did some focus groups, and all of the pictures, because the picture's worth 1,000 words, all of the pictures that you all are going to see are pictures that were submitted by local youth, 18 and younger. Recently, we had a poetry slam at SCSU. We had people come from California, Washington, D.C. We had 175 participants, and I thank Councilwoman Grievous because she was there to support, and it was a really good event. And they're looking to come back to Orangeburg annually because they were so impressed. Okay, last summer, Breathe Easy conducted a Pathways to Health Justice training with the fire squad. So kind of that was the capacity building piece, supporting and investing in our youth to be local leaders. Okay, so with the research that we did, these were the key findings. This is a local vape shop. If you notice, it looks like a kid's birthday party. So what we're kind of showing is that the local tobacco retailers are marketing to our youth. So anytime you see, and I want y'all to take note of this, like when y'all go to gas stations and stuff like this in the future, you'll note that when they're marketing to youth is because you will see tobacco ads within 3 feet of the floor. You'll see tobacco paraphernalia or accessories that people use with tobacco within 12 inches of things that are appealing to children. And then you see a lot of bright lights and colors on the inside and outside of these venues. It's because they're marketing to youth. And the reason they market to youth, and it's primarily in African American communities, people know that tobacco causes health issues. People die prematurely. The tobacco industry has to replace all the customers that they kill. And so they start with youth because then they'll have a lifetime customer. And so these are some ads within 3 feet of the floor. And these are all taken within the city of Orangeburg, and these were all submitted by local youth. And then this, so you'll see the cigarette lighters near the M&Ms. And then I also threw some pictures in of that looks like candy, but it's actually stuff that's sold in vape shop that has harmful chemicals like THC and things like that. Obviously, the target is youth. This is the inside of the vape shops, very colorful, attracted to youth. And more lights. Y'all probably recognize some of these places. And then youth have access to the tobacco. So one of these pictures, some of you might remember, was I think it was in the T&D on an article, but those were things that were confiscated at a local high school. And then these are some of the devices they use. And then those were circled because we believe that this vape shop strategically placed itself next to OP. It's like right next to that entrance. So the youth would come out and go into the shop. And then notice the next 2 pictures, well, the last 2 pictures that were taken are from inside the vape shop. Every participant that submitted pictures from the city of Orangeburg took pictures from within the vape shop that they're not allowed to be in. You're not supposed to be allowed in unless you're 21. And so let me go back. Jeremiah, you want to tell them some of the stuff that y'all have?
Okay, so one of the common ways predatory marketing is done by vape shops is by targeting places that youth go outside of school and when they're not in school. I witnessed it firsthand at the YMCA, which is a place that kids play basketball and other sports. And there was a man in the parking lot, and he was sort of advertising to youth, allowing them to try certain vape flavors and kind of just guarding it kind of like before they walk in, so like he could catch them before they get in.
Tobacco and vape marketing within the community has a negative influence on the youth as it leads to widespread addiction or dependency on substances that compromise the well-being of the community as a collective.
Yeah, and so we just wanted to make you all aware that these things are happening in your community. And then I also thought it was, I applied the opportunity, y'all letting us speak, because we see the work that you all are doing around tobacco, and we applaud it. And also want to thank other groups like Hold Out the Lifeline that's doing this great work in the community as well. Thank you.
Before y'all sit down, we want to just thank y'all for making us aware of, actually what's going on, because I hadn't been in a vape shop. I don't think I have. And just to see the things that you can spot out, the colorfulness of things. I mean, I worked in a school, but when it was getting bad, I was retired. So, but I mean, I just appreciate it, y'all continue the work that y'all are doing, because it's helping to save lives and bringing awareness of harmful chemicals. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate the group on their national award and invite them back sometime in the near future to officially recognize them for this national
and we
award.
get a picture
This is
with
great.
y'all.
Yeah.
We want to definitely thank you for what you're doing. Continue to have all that you can out there so that a lot of people will know the danger of the smoke, the cigarettes, and all of this that you have. So we thank you. If we can be of service to you at any time, feel free to contact us.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, so I would like to take the opportunity to connect you all with a national group that we're working with called the Public Health Law Center. You all have been doing, well, in my opinion, doing very well when it comes to policies. Like, we were all jumping for joy and bragging about you all nationally about this ordinance. That was a big reason why the Fire Squad got an unanimous vote to win this award. And so with the Public Health Law Center, they have model policies and they draft policies for you, which takes a lot of the grunt work out for you all. And then you can make it your own, like as far as like tailoring the language to how you like it. And then they also try to make you all aware of like how a policy can be beautifully written, but taking into consideration enforcement. Because sometimes councils will write a beautiful policy and then you do all that hard work and then it doesn't get enforced in the community. And so they are very good with working with council. So I would love to connect you all with them.
Well, what the process is, you contact our city administrator, and then he will get all the ins and outs to see, because he have to keep us in the right ramification, and then he will make us aware. That's the process.
Okay.
Okay. Call the office, speak to our administrative assistant, that's Ms. McDaniel, and give her all the ins and outs, and then our city administrator, well, he will relate it to us. That's how we get it out.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Just one question. Have you guys received any accolades or pushback from your folk in your age group? That's always a concern of mine.
Yeah,
You're
we
doing good
have.
work, but I'm just asking. Go ahead.
That's actually by my experience, one of my biggest pushbacks, because you're seen as different, because that's kind of like the normal thing that goes on nowadays. It's like a trend. So seeing us kind of fight against that, other kids are like looking at us like, what's wrong with you? But yeah, that's sort of our biggest, well, at least from my experience, my biggest pushback is other youth.
I just want to piggyback on what Councilwoman Annette just told you in terms of poetry. I will encourage you to, keep it up. Because my daughter, my baby daughter is now in Morocco because she won International Poetry Award. She lives in California. And so she was part of it from all poets. She's a financial analyst, but she also loved to, to write. And so I would ask you to keep it up. It's very good when you think in abstract, ways. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes, great. Great presentation.
Yes. Mr. Holly, have a retirement fee.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Good evening.
As always, it is bittersweet to bring one of these to you. It is a retirement resolution honoring 26 years or over 26 years of service for Ms. Sharon Stevens Fisk. Ms. Sharon is retiring and headed off to the next phase of her life, but we certainly want to honor her service to the city of Orangeburg. We thank her for her diligence. She served in our accounting department. She did wonderful things supporting our work there and the citizens of the city of Orangeburg. And so, Mr. Mayor, we are delighted to be able to honor her. She is not here tonight.
Okay.
She's off doing her new second phase of her life, but we still wanted to honor her with this resolution.
Okay, all right. You have it to be read?
Just what's in the packet. You want me to?
Let me
Yeah,
find
it's,
the one that's in the packet.
Yeah, we didn't bring the big.
Okay. We wanna, just kinda wanna, cause she may be listening and you wanna thank her. Hold on.
You want to use mine, Mayor?
Yeah, let me use yours right quick. Okay. Resolution, whereas Ms. Sharon Stevens Fisk faithfully served the Department of Public Utility for 26 years, 3 months, and 19 days, with a retirement date of May 1st, 2026. And whereas through her long and faithful service, contributed greatly to the successful operation of the city of Orangeburg. And whereas the city council, in recognition of the fine contributions rendered the city of Orangeburg, want to inscribe on record its appreciation. And now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and members of council in the council assemble do officially recognize the faithful service rendered to the city of Orangeburg in the capacity in which she served the city, and we take pride in commending her for a job well done. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution in appreciation of her devotion and duties to the city of Orangeburg be placed in the minute book of the city, and a copy furnished to Ms. Fisk in recognition of her service, passed by City Council, City of Orangeburg, State of South Carolina, this 5th day on May 2026. And council, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you, Ms. Fitz. If you listen to us for your service that you have rendered to the city of Orangeburg.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Holly. Mr. Everett. While Mr. Everett is coming, I would like to recognize President Jim Sally from Africa University. He's the president over there. Thank you for being here. Can you wave your hand so they'll know who you are? I want to recognize Mr. Felder being down here with us tonight. Thank you so much. These are our friends and all of us. Of course, you know, I'm always glad to see my dear teacher back there, Reverend McCutcheon. Always glad to see him back there and all the Trinity family. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next presenter we have is Ms. Emily Swearengin. She's with AECOM. AECOM is the company that was hired to do a feasibility study for the pedestrian overpass. As you all are aware, the city received a grant, a federal raised grant for $22.8 million to construct a pedestrian overpass along with a parking deck. And so before we can enter into the construction phase, we had to do a feasibility study. And as I said, Ms. Swearengin and AECOM led the effort, so she wants to present to you and the public her findings. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Mayor and
Yes,
Council. I'll try not to get too long-winded on this.
Okay.
So just to give you an overview of the project, I believe most of y'all are probably familiar with it, but we were hired to look at the feasibility of a pedestrian bridge overpass over the Norfolk Southern Railroad and Magnolia Street and Boulevard. And so we were studying to find viable options for that pedestrian bridge to see if it was going to be suitable in that area. And so that was the scope kind of our work. We looked at environmental considerations, railroad considerations, community considerations, working with the schools and a stakeholder group, as well as a high-level cost and benefit to the community. There were a couple of constraints that I just wanted to highlight that we noted about the project in the study area. One of the key ones is the coordination with the National Historic Preservation Act. That is, this is a federally funded project, so the project will have to comply with that. We did find that there were multiple historic districts within the area. There's actually 3 historic districts right in the vicinity of the project. We coordinated with the State Historic Preservation Office to get some feedback from them and some of the preliminary work. But we also coordinated with the universities around, the Civil Rights Museum, other stakeholders in the group. So the coordination and compliance with that as the project moves forward is one of the key considerations. Other constraints, we've mentioned the railroad, Norfolk Southern Railroad right there. We did coordinate with Norfolk Southern with their public projects manual and their requirements to lay out a bridge that is going to clear the railroad horizontally and vertically to meet their needs, as well as coordinate with the Orangeburg DPU on the utilities in the area to see what kind of impacts would be required or relocations potentially required as part of the project. And there are a few that would have to be relocated, some overhead power, there's some water lines that are in the vicinity of where the foundations would go, and maybe some sewer encasement as well. But we did find that it was feasible to put it in and meet the requirements for the railroad and the utilities. When we started the process, we met with a stakeholder group and we looked at 3 kind of areas of crossing Magnolia. So the area that we had, the number 1, which is right near Russell Street, right at the intersection there. Number 2 was really kind of in the area between the entrance to South Carolina State and Russell, so like kind of halfway in between. And the 3rd was kind of on the northern end between Claflin and South Carolina State. And after our first stakeholder meeting there and talking with the community, you know, the most direct connection was important to make sure people can access it. And so really, number 2 was the one that was really the preferred, because number 1 is too close to the intersection. There's overhead signals, there's, you know, utilities related to the railroad. It wasn't the most preferred. So number 2 was the area we looked at the most. And then we looked at some other elements related to it. So one of the components of the grant for implementation is a parking garage. It's very much needed for accessing the railroad corner development as it continues. And the idea of tying in the bridge to the parking garage was really favored from the stakeholders. So we did look at different alternatives for a parking garage and built that into our alternatives evaluation. And we had 4 alternatives. But we had 2 in the study that we really highlighted as the most bang for your buck kind of approach. It provided up to 200 parking spaces and at least 3 stories in order to meet the elevation requirements and to make it work. We looked at multiple alternatives. I'll talk a little bit on some other slides about the public engagement, but we had on the west side of the bridge, which is on the railroad corner side, we had one kind of location, but we looked at different ways to access the bridge, through the parking deck, through separate ramps, through stairs, and some alternatives. So there were 3 alternatives on that side. And then on the campus side, we looked at 4 different alternatives. So there were different ways to access, and then multiple alternatives within that. So different combinations, whether you had stairs, elevators, ramps, and how it actually went into the campus and around. So all of those were presented at our public meeting that we had. This is a rendering, just kind of shows you the general location of it and how it would work with the parking deck on the west side. and then one of the kind of alternatives in the location on the east side. So we engaged the public just as a really important part of it to see what does the community need and want. We had 2 stakeholder meetings, about 15 to 20 people attended each one. We asked for feedback in those meetings, included members of the community, some churches, the museum, the DOT, the utilities. And then we had one public meeting that we held in December. And then we also went onto campus. We went to both Claflin and to South Carolina State and engaged the students and anybody walking by. We had probably over 60 participate in the just like, you know, table, like kiosk that we had. And we got a lot of feedback. You know, a lot of students are actually, they're making that route in the nighttime hours when it's even not as safe as it is during the day. And there's a strong need, especially as the community continues to develop and there's destinations on the railroad corner side. We considered improvements on Boulevard Street. So one of those is to make that a one-way street and look at parking there and wider sidewalks. And ultimately, you know, long-term having a transit stop for local routes that are there servicing the university and around the community. We evaluated all the alternatives, and these are some of the 5 key areas. So each alternative had multiple variations of those alternatives, and we ranked them based on these criteria, looking at ADA accessibility, looking at how much it's going to cost compared to other alternatives, what does the community think, what are the impacts to utilities, and then what is the feedback, you know, from the stakeholders. And after we went through that process, we really came up with like 5 that are just the most bang for your buck, you know, best value for the city to consider. And so, you know, there are variations of that, and that's in our study for the feasibility, but we found that it is feasible, that there are some good options that will provide the access that is needed and that are supported by the community. And so what are the next steps, right? So the feasibility study is coming to an end. We have submitted the report and to the city, but now the grant for the implementation is next. And so there's a further investigation into the environmental. There's NEPA documents required for the federal funding there. Additional engineering and permitting that's going to be required. And then consideration for different ways you could procure the project to get it to construction. And based on the grant, we would need that construction completed by the fall of 2032, based on their funding that they've provided for the grant for your implementation. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any questions? We have a website. You guys can see all the alternatives on the website, so that could be an option if you guys want to look into it a little bit more.
Please raise your hand if you have a question so you can be recognized. Mrs. Reeves first.
So based off of the feasibility study and the input that you've gathered thus far, is there a design that is preferred that you can share with us that may not necessarily be the final design, but something that...
The rendering that we showed with the parking deck on the one side and tying into that is the preferred side on the west side. That is the preferred, with stairs and an elevator is really one of the best value on that side. On the other side, there were a couple of variations, but the one that was really, I would say, had the most support from the community would be an elevator with a stair and a smaller footprint. Mm-hmm. However, you know, as you progress, there may be a need for ramps, and there is an option that is good option and supported, but it's a little more expensive and had a little more impacts. And so it didn't score quite as well just because of the impacts there. But the stairs and the elevator on the one side, and then the tying into the parking deck with an elevator and stairs, and then we have like a bike, on the stairs you would have a way to bring your bike up and down. You just have to use the bike ramp, but you carry it up instead of meeting 100% ADA there, or you can use the elevator. But those were kind of the two that, like the preferred, the smaller footprint, was, I think, what came out of the public engagement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kidd.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our beginning date?
So.
I see the completion.
The city's working with the DOT now on that next step. So it'll be the design and the construction phase is the next step. And they are still working through the grant agreement and the specifics of that. So I don't know that I know we don't know exactly until we get through that process with the DOT.
I'm very
US
pleased with the suggestion of where we're gonna put the path. That number 2 is the place.
Yes.
It is fantastic.
Great.
So we appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It did, when people are using facilities like this, you need to make it integrated into their commute already, right? And if you have to go out of the way or it's inconvenient, people won't use it as much, and then you won't get the benefit. One of the other things I didn't mention is that we did propose a little wider than a regular pedestrian bridge. It was about 20 feet for when you cross, and as you go through the coordination with the State Historic Office for the improvements, we've recommended a need to make it a little more interpretive and have elements that celebrate that history, since we're in 3 historic districts.
Good, good.
Councilman Hawkins.
Yeah, I know you mentioned it goes to DOT next, and that was kind of my question, was the 23 feet, 6 inches that Norfolk Southern requires, is that greater or less than what DOT would
It
require?
is
do you know?
greater.
Okay, so that
DOT
would
requires
cover it.
about 18 feet is what you plan for. That's not the absolute minimum, but that's what's recommended as the clearance over the road. And it actually works out pretty nicely, because on the South Carolina State side, the elevation of the existing ground does go up. So the clearance on Magnolia is naturally a little less, and then the railroad is lower. And then you get that, the reason we tie to the parking deck on the other side is because you do have almost the full 23 feet on that side. There's not a way to fully bring it back down easily within the footprint and not impacting the church, which is also historic, just north.
Gotcha. I was just concerned about like commercial vehicles, but if it's
You
greater
should
than
be
that, you're
fine.
good. Yeah, I guess they're not
It's
that
as
tall.
much as like an interstate
Yeah.
clearance there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you, guys. Any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor, and it's just amazing that you brought us something that would help with the quality of life in the community, knowing that Orangeburg will not be the same in a couple of more years. But you showed a picture of parking. Well, you
Of a
showed
parking
two.
deck?
No, you showed 2 pictures of parking, but this is one right in front of the Soda Shop Museum. The parking deck, I'll do one question, 2 parts. Is the parking deck free or is it paid? And the parking in front of the museum, it looked like you have about 2 spaces there. So how would you regulate those 2 spaces?
Well, so there is multiple angled parking spaces, but one of the reasons maybe in some of the pictures, it looks like it was specifically suggested from the Civil Rights Museum coordination that they would like bus pullover, right? So people can load and unload. So that one area that is not the parking there is really a loading zone for buses, because I think they expect people to be able to come and visit the museum and have somewhere to unload and load safely. But there was probably 8 to 10 spots that we could fit in there and still between that loading zone and the intersection. And then their parking deck would have access as well from the sidewalk to the museum.
But the question was, 2 questions, 2 different locations. The parking deck, is it paid or free? And secondly, the parking in front of the museum, because I know how it go with me. I'd come there and park and stay there forever. So I'm saying, how would you regulate that? Is
Oh,
it
how
free?
would you regulate that
and
parking?
is it free or paid?
I think that it hasn't been completely worked out and would be coordinated with the city on their preferences and policies. Yeah.
Mr. Evans, I think you want.
Yes, sir, Mayor, Mr. Hanna, we hadn't, a decision has not been made on whether or not it would be paid or not. It's really, will be up to y'all, how y'all want to do that.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I have one more thing for you, Ron. I don't know if
Sure.
you thought about it yet. I'm sure you have. But like whenever, I'm sure a lot of school buses and stuff are gonna be coming, bringing kids into the museum. Is there a place for those buses to park somewhere close by once they drop the children off, that they'll be able to park a large bus?
I don't want to speak for the city, but during our coordination, I do believe there are some lots that are planned for Railroad Corner that are like surface lots, and
Okay.
that maybe in the future that you could have some staging for buses there.
Okay.
But
Good deal.
it seemed, I don't know the long-term plan for that parking, once the parking deck is in place.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions for our presenter today? You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brought sunshine to us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Ms. Everett.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item for your consideration, under old business, is third reading of an ordinance authorizing the transfer of approximately 1.3 acres of real property located at 1895 Columbia Road with tax map number 0174-17-08-005.000. As a reminder, this is the property on Columbia Road, like I just said, that the sales price would be $150,000. It comps well with similar properties that have sold in that area. It is my understanding that the buyer wants to use it for a kind of spa facility. And happy to answer any questions that y'all have.
Are there any questions for Mr. Everett before we read the ordinance? Authorizing the transfer of approximately 1.3 acres of real property with the improvements, if any, located at 1895 Columbia Road with the county tax map number 0174-1708-005-000 and providing for other related matters.
Mayor and council, I move that we approve the ordinance as stated.
Second the
Motion
motion.
has been made by Councilman
Second.
Grievous and second by Councilman Hannah. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next item for your consideration is second reading of an ordinance authorizing the transfer of approximately .28 acres of real property with improvements, if any, located at 1125 Russell Street, tax map number 0173-13-34-013.000, and approximately .33 acres of real property with improvements, if any, located at or about 1067 Amelia Street, tax map number 0173-13-33-004.000. As a reminder, this is the development proposed by the Hexagon Development Group. I'll start with the property. What is that? That is the property located at 1067 Amelia Street. That's a rendering. They are proposing to do a restaurant at the bottom floor with about 37 units of apartments on the top floor, on the subsequent floors above it. I know there was a question about parking. We have looked into that. So it is currently zoned B1, which would require about 72 dedicated spaces. There are spaces that, is it about 95 spaces, David? That would be pretty much across the street, diagonally over there. I think it's Williams Printing Shop. The city owns the parking lots there. The developers also said that they want to include a parking structure on that first level that will provide parking as well as some surface parking behind it. So There is about, how many, 200 odd parking spaces available in that area. But again, it would be 72 required based on the ordinance.
How many parking spaces again are available in the area?
I'm just wondering, about 200?
273.
Okay.
And that includes the parking lot across the street?
Yes, the parking lot across the street is 95 total spaces.
For the audience, to clarify this for the audience, this is gonna be built right next to Archie Fair's Barber Shop on the corner where that man, right there, and it's gonna, I believe that it's gonna beautify that corner, coming down there.
And to clarify also, the building that is adjacent to that open lot, the developers have purchased that building as well?
That is my understanding. Yes, that's what I was told.
But we don't know for certain.
I was told explicitly that they purchased it. It was there was a closing on the property.
Okay.
That's precise words.
What building are you talking about? Crazy J.
What is it called?
Crazy J. What we call them Crazy J. But they purchased.
Crazy
You know
J's.
Crazy J.
Crazy J's. Okay.
I'm sorry.
On the corner.
And will these units be open to any and everyone, or these workforce units, market rate units? Can you speak a little bit more about who would be marketed or targeted for these particular housing developments?
Yes, ma'am. So there are one and two bedroom units, and there would be market rate housing with the expected rents to be between $13.50 and $18.50. Again, they would target professionals, young professionals, folks at a market rate. It's not affordable housing in terms of the traditional definition of it.
Okay.
If I may, I'll talk about the property located at 1125 Russell Street. It's just another. So this is the what's known as the old Braxton Shoe Store building at 1125. What they're proposing to do there is to have a kind of sports bar lounge on the first floor, again, with about 37 units above. Same price point, also marketed to as market rate housing. This, however, is zoned as B2, so it doesn't have the same parking requirements. There is, however, as you know, a parking lot, I should say, across the street and behind the buildings across Russell Street. And I'm not exactly sure. How many spaces does that have, David? Do you remember? Do you know?
It's right behind me. It's right behind me.
It's behind this building, right?
60.
Yeah, so there would be parking, again, across Russell Street and behind the buildings on Russell Street, and then there's parking directly behind that building. Again, because it's Zone B2, it doesn't have the same parking requirement. Actually, I don't think it has any, like, specific number that is required, but those would be the spaces available, and it's just really, the parking that they can access in those spaces and around the downtown area.
So given the businesses on Russell Street, and I believe the parking behind really both of this building and behind on the other side of Russell Street are utilized by those businesses, would residents, is it just kind of a first come, first serve if you get a parking space? in or near where you reside?
Technically, I think so. Unless I'm misspeaking, David, just correct me if I'm misspeaking, but I think that would be the case.
Okay.
I want to speak on that. I went to the Grand in Columbia on Thursday night, and we were going in the restaurant. So the people that live, everybody live downtown Columbia on Main Street. So we had to find our space. I think they have so many spaces, but then they have to park down. You got to you have to go on down the street and park. They was maneuvering, with it. They just some of them park down the street. They have a garage that some of them park, but everybody can't because they live all along Main Street. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, and I can understand the patrons, coming to visit various businesses, but as a resident, I guess that's my choice if I choose to live there.
Yeah.
I may have a parking space close by, I may not.
As some additional information about the proposal, they are asking to purchase the property at 5% of the tax value. So 5% of the tax value on the property of Amelia Street would be a little less than $2,000. The sales agreement would have clawbacks in it, or reversionary clause that would require the developer to substantially start the project within a 2-year period, to start the project within a 2-year period and substantially complete it within a 4-year period, or the property would, the city could purchase the property back at that price. And that would apply to both parcels. The 1125 property is, the property tax value is $157,000, and 5% of that would be about $7,800, $7,868. But the same clawbacks would be at play. Happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Any questions, any concerns before we read the ordinance?
Just one other quick question. In terms of the property located at Amelia Street, are there plans to have a conversation with SCDOT in terms of crossing that street there? Because I could see that getting pretty busy with that restaurant and housing there, especially if someone has to park in that parking lot near Williamson.
No, I think that's a good idea. I can certainly talk to DOT or have the developer talk to DOT about that.
That's all, Ms. Green?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Authorizing the transfer of approximately 0.28 acres of real property with the improvements, if any, located at 1125 Russell Street with the county tax map number 01731334013000 and approximately 0.033 acres of real property with improvements, if any, located at or about 1067 Amelia Street with the county tax map number 01731333004000 and providing for other related matters.
Mayor and council, I move the adoption of authorizing the transfer of approximately 28 acres of real property
And
with an improvement from 1125 Russell Street and about 1067 Amelia Street.
Okay, motion has been made by Councilman Kidd.
Second motion.
Second by Councilman Kalu, all in favor? Any opposes? Ayes have it, motion is carried.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The next two items, I just want to remind you all and the public that there will be a public hearing scheduled at the next meeting on May 19th to give the public an opportunity to address both of these items. But the first is second reading of an ordinance amending, restating, striking, and replacing Section 30 of Chapter 5 of the City Code, smoking in public places. Again, as a reminder, at the March 17th meeting, Reverend McCutcheon presented to you all the Clean Air is Fair initiative to make sure that citizens have access to clean air and they're not affected by secondhand smoke. This ordinance replaces and strikes the entire, the current ordinance is found in Chapter 5 and Section 30. It also adds electronic vaping devices. I know that Councilman Hawkins had some questions or requested revisions that would remove smokeless tobacco. I think that has been addressed in this version. It would prohibit smoking in all city-owned, leased, or operated buildings, vehicles, and adjacent outdoor properties. Smoking would be prohibited in restaurants, bars, retail stores, and offices, healthcare facilities, educational institutions, public transportation, and related facilities. It would also be prohibited within 25 feet of building entrances, windows, or ventilation systems, outdoor dining, seating areas, public events, parks, playgrounds, and recreational areas. As far as penalties are concerned, penalties can include up to $100 for a first offense, up to $200 for a second offense, and up to $500 for any subsequent offenses. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
We want to consider the public hearing. We need to hear from the public, because we have to come back, and we don't want to come back. If y'all could just bear with us until the 17th, I think we have the public hearing, and the public has to have input. That's how we get it done, for item number 4 and item number 5.
Yeah.
If we can do that, if it pleases y'all, let's hear from the public, so we won't have to come back, and once we do it, it'll be done.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. In the meantime, I would ask if the attorney could take a look at the Public Health Law Center in terms of the Clean Air is Fair ordinance to see how that just aligns with what you've prepared, and want to thank again Dr. Morgan for pointing that out to us.
Make it 1 or 2?
2. For the public hearing, if we could hear, for the air and the animal control.
That's 1 or
Okay.
2?
Let's do,
1 motion or 2 motions?
well, we can make it one motion.
Can we make
We
one
can do
motion?
that, can't we? Can make it one motion, can't we?
So
Okay.
you're postponing this until,
Until the
Until
17th.
the
for the,
19th.
for the
19th.
second reading?
Yeah, for the
Yes.
public to. have
Okay,
their say,
yeah.
yes. I make a motion at this time to postpone number 4 and number 5 item to the next meeting in order to give the citizens, the right to speak up on these issues.
Motion's been made by Councilman Kalou,
Second.
second by Councilman Kidd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a report from Mr. David Upton, who's our Public Works Director. He's going to provide some information, update,
He's gonna give us update on building code.
building codes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Epting.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good
Council.
evening.
Tonight, I was here to give you some information on the permitting that we did for the month of April. The permitting was roughly around 37 permits were issued from anywhere from new construction all the way through to just minor renovations or electrical repairs, plumbing repairs, that sort of thing. So We haven't been including a report in your packets, but we had a request that to start reporting them again. So each month, we will, in your first meeting, we're going to have a presentation for you to review the number of permits that we've issued, the type of permits that we've issued, permit fees, as well as the estimated construction costs. That'll kind of give you an idea of where we're at as far as construction being done in the city. And then fees will kind of give you an idea of what we're taking in as fees for permitting. And then I'll give you an update as what types of construction are being done. With this one, if you'll notice, the new construction for commercial, we only had one new construction that was permitted in April, and we had 3 new residential construction permitted in April. So just to give you a quick rundown is that lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. We do permit, like I said, we do permit new construction, we permit additions, plumbing, roofing, and signs, solar, and trees. If you notice down on the bottom, we do a tree permit for the removal of large trees when they're in the buildable area and need to be removed. During the month of April, we also had one completion, which was the Orangeburg Family Medicine at 1550 Sims Street. That was a 4,800 square foot building that will house approximately 33 folks for doing medical procedures and also prescriptions and things like that. So, any questions?
No, I just want to say, I was the one that sent in for David. Y'all like that, kind of getting an update just to know kind of what's coming and going? I mean, what's happening in Orangeburg? I think that's something.
Yeah, I think
you're
it's
right.
wonderful.
David, I really appreciate, you probably hate seeing my emails and calls and texts, but I appreciate you doing
No,
that. I
sir.
think that's, you know, the citizens will know, and I think it's a good thing. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would just add, if, again, thank you for sharing this information with us. If, in your report, could you provide perhaps a comparison too, in terms of where we were last year at this time? Not today, but
Yes.
in the future,
A-
like April
absolutely.
of 2025, how does this compare?
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Epton?
No.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. David,
Yes, sir.
you said about, I don't know if it's called license permits, whatever it's called, when citizens have to get something done to their home, they have to come down to the office and request a permit.
Yes, sir.
Is there a dollar amount on that? Because I know some people, I know personally, that when my water line burst, I got a neighbor to come and tie that line back up. Now, do I supposed to come down and get a permit? Is it a amount, certain amount you're supposed to do? And how would the citizens know that they are supposed to follow the guidelines as the permitting?
Right. Anything, any type of repairs or construction over $500.
Oh, $500.
Yes, sir. Would require a permit. And then once the permit is pulled, we'll come out and do the inspection just to make sure that everything was done properly and up to code. If it's something like a release for a utilities, then we'll send the release over to DPU, and then they will schedule the reconnection.
So how are we informing the citizens of Orangeburg? They just don't know that just by osmosis. I mean,
Right.
are we gonna send something out with a DPU to, so often to inform them?
Mr. Hannah, members of council, and David can correct me if I'm wrong, in most cases, contractors are well aware of the rules.
Yes.
We have for the most part, repeat contractors, and our rules are not unlike most cities that they'll work in. And so we don't generally have a problem with somebody not knowing that they need to either reach out to the city codes official or us to get their work done. But we do have on our website, just to your point, place they can go and find out that information.
Okay.
For us, always call customer service, no matter what.
And I was just called Public Works, so, yeah.
Mr. David, I'm just asking that because there's a term that's been used ever since I was a little boy, and it's called a tree shade mechanic. A tree shade mechanic know how to repair a car. The one at the dealer know how to repair a car. When you're looking at price, but you just said the person doing the work, they know.
Yes, sir.
And that's key. They know $500 or more. You answered my
Yes, sir.
question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Epting, I have one more thing for you. Do you mind giving council and the citizens update on the code enforcement? Did we ever get that going with the, like the third party?
We had a interview today, so we should have them up and going next week.
Okay. I know a lot of citizens have been asking about different, things, and I know these guys are, slammed with their work, but they're, third party now
Yep.
to a company to do some code enforcement within the city. So I think that's gonna be a good thing coming too.
Yeah, like I said, we had an interview today. I think he's gonna be a good fit for the city, and do a really good job for us.
All right. Thank you
We
for all your hard work.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ms. King.
At this time, though, I would like to thank all city chairs, department heads, chief, all of you for the work that you do. I don't think we thank you enough for what you do, and we know you work hard. So all of you, chairs, please, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Continue the good work. We're doing a lot in Orangeburg. I'm so proud of Orangeburg.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Ms. Linda just informed me that I think someone is interested in knowing the dates of the public hearings that you guys mentioned. So if you could just.
They will be on the 17th,
19.
19th, when we have the next council. Right before we have to start the council, we'll have the public hearing. So the 19th. Did that answer you? Okay. And we would like to thank the Parks and Recs for these wonderful bags we have
Oh, yeah.
and these shirts that we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. And I also want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Cecil Williams for being here tonight. We appreciate him and getting that museum moving on. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Our next thing we have is we have executive session, and in executive session we will discussion of negotiation of incidents, proposed contractual arrangements with the receipt of legal advice, section 30-4-70A2. Item A, use of city-owned office space. B, DORA. I would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved, Mayor.
Properly moved by Councilman Hannah,
Second.
second by Councilman Knox. All in favor?
Aye.
We're gonna say good night. We won't be returning to open session. Good night and good to see everybody.